And corporal works of mercy are in full force in the state of Florida. EWTN News contributor Catherine Hadro brings us a report on the innovative Hope Cottages, launched by Catholic Charities that are providing refuge for the unhoused in Tampa.
Florida may be known for its beaches, theme parks, and great weather, but there's an aspect to the Sunshine State that's not so bright. Florida had an 18.5% jump in its unhoused population over the last year, with nearly 5,000 more homeless seeking shelter under the sun.
I mean, obviously it starts with our climate, right?
John Bennett is the City of Tampa's chief of staff. Florida's cities with the highest homeless populations include Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and the Tampa Bay area. Bennett says combating homelessness is a top 5 priority for the City of Tampa, with the goal of caring for the human person while also ensuring community safety.
The balancing act is you start by caring for the individual and their needs, but you have to have an eye on disorder as well. And you know, we have had businesses that clearly will complain about their business opportunities.
We have a very high rate of homelessness.
Maggie Rogers leads Catholic Charities in the Diocese of St. Petersburg. She says the reasons for the homelessness rise range from their warmer winters to increasing inflation.
An average client of ours that is earning Social Security disability is making $900 a month, and so they simply can't afford to live in a home.
COVID would become the catalyst for how the local Catholic Charities handles care for the homeless. At the start of the pandemic, Rogers proposed Tampa build a trial homeless shelter.
At first, the mayor's office said, tents in the city of Tampa. And I said, yeah. And they're like, let me think about this.
Catholic Charities got the green light and support from the mayor. Within 1 week, it opened a mock shelter with 100 tents for 2 months.
And the city of Tampa is like, you kind of know what you're doing on homeless services. That was the jumpstart of Tampa Hope.
Tampa Hope probably hasn't been done nowhere.
Eric Marrero directs the Tampa Hope Homeless Shelter.
Tampa Hope is a program, so we are a shelter for those that are experiencing homelessness, but we're more than just a shelter.
Tampa Hope provides 3 meals a day, toiletries, clothing, shower and laundry facilities, and case managers to help clients navigate services for housing, healthcare, substance abuse counseling, and more. The housing program uniquely combines both tents and these innovative Hope Cottages, set to open in the spring.
All right, so take a look at one of these.
Each 64-square-foot Hope Cottage can house 1 or 2 people with folding beds, electric air conditioning, heating, and power outlets. It can also resist Category 5 hurricane winds. Tampa Hope currently serves 125 residents, but when these cottages open up this spring, they'll be able to serve 235, with room for an additional 100 people in the future. Each resident has a different reason they are here, but Tampa Hope's director says every homeless person experiences 2 things: financial poverty and relational poverty.
Relational poverty is not having that mom, dad, sister, uncle, brother, somebody who can take you in, somebody who can help you out.
Devin Jackson lives in tent number 46 at Tampa Hope. His life began in brokenness 48 years ago.
My mother was killed by my father when she was 8 months pregnant with me.
Raised by his grandmother, Jackson says he began experimenting with crack cocaine at the age of 19, and at 22, says his life took a downturn from there.
I got to the point where I didn't have a job anymore. I was just doing whatever I could to support my drug habit. That turned into, jail. Jail turned into prison.
Following his release from prison, Jackson says his struggles with drugs and depression became overwhelming. He was in and out of homeless shelters and in cycles of relapsing. He began sleeping on a playground and then in a storage unit.
I was laying in that storage unit one night and I thought about Tampa Hope.
Jackson has now lived at Tampa Hope for a year. He says he's had no contact with law enforcement since his prison release and is currently working as an overnight forklift operator.
No longer see myself on the path that I was living on before. I just, these days, failure is not an option.
It's just
It feels like a new lease on life, you know.
Eric Cox lived at Tampa Hope for about 1 year, but moved into his own Tampa apartment in December with the help from his caseworkers and other assistance programs. His path to homelessness followed a series of health complications when an open-heart surgery forced him to quit his job.
The apartment that we were living in, you know, I couldn't afford, you know, to live in it anymore, so I started living with my daughter for a little while. And it was a one-bedroom apartment. Her and her husband, you know, they had recently had a baby, so I didn't want to invade on their privacy, you know, a new family, you know, trying to get their life together, raise their child. So I ended up, you know, sleeping in my car for a while.
Eric's doctor learned about his housing situation and helped connect him with Tampa Hope. It was through Tampa Hope Eric enrolled in what was a lifetime goal of his, a 12-week culinary arts program, which he puts to good use in his new kitchen.
Always remember the mise en place. It means having everything you want in front of you while preparing your meal.
He says he'd like to now create a local meal prep business.
Who knew, you know, going through this homelessness would grant me a degree, something that I've always wanted in culinary arts.
Eric, who has been active in his Christian church throughout his life, says temporary time in a tent brought solitude and silence, which strengthened his relationship with God.
When my grandmother was living, we used to have these things called tent revivals. And tent revivals are basically having church outside in tents. And I thought of this one song my grandmother used to say, and it reminded me that I had a tent revival every night by myself with God.
They're not the homeless, they're our brothers and sisters.
Father Mike Jones is the pastor of Sacred Heart Catholic Church in downtown Tampa, where many local unhoused people gather. He says it's in his parish's DNA to serve the homeless and even to be served by them.
There's this homeless man who came up to me and gave me $20. He goes, "Here, I want to give the church a donation for Christmas." And I'm like, "Well, you know, you might need this more than we do, you know." "No, you do so much for us." A lot of times people have the conception that the homeless just want to take, and that has not been our experience. You know, a lot of them want to find a way to give back.
It's a reminder that when looking at the homeless in the streets and in the statistics, to first remember the individual stories.
Don't look at all homeless people as dirty people. There's smart people, there's educated people, there's mothers. Sometimes we just go through these phases in life that we have no control over.
Reporting from Tampa, Florida, Catherine Hadro, EWTN News In Depth.